Hello everyone, I, Professor Bhavik M. Kataria, welcomes you all in video series of computer networks. We are discussing unit number 2, application layer. Till today, we have discussed principles of computer applications, web and HTTP. Today, we are going to discuss email. Email is basically stand for the electronic mail. It is electronic mail. So let's see some highlights of a few topics we have already discussed till today. So in this session we have discussed the principle of applications layer, like all of the end systems or clients are connected with the application layer and communicating with the networks. Another thing we have discussed in this case, there is client server architecture and peer-to-peer architecture. Another architecture was peer-to-peer. So right now it is client server architecture, that is our client. It is also our client. And is our server. So that is the scenario of client server architecture. Client is always making the request to server to access the data or information. Whereas in some of the cases, there should be communication between client and another client. So this thing is not, suppose these two clients are communicating with each other. So this type of communication is known as a peer-to-peer architecture. That is peer-to-peer architecture. So we have discussed both type of architecture in detail. We have also discussed World Wide Web. Suppose anyone user is accessing abcd.com, so that server of abcd.com will respond the home page from the disk. Suppose page is available into the cache memory, then server will respond from the cache memory. Otherwise, server will access that thing from the disk and provide to the user for a client. Suppose there is another link of some other servers like xyz.com, so directly user will redirect to the another server xyz.com. Same thing look like here. If page is available into the cache memory, then directly server will provide, otherwise server will provide that page from the disk. So that is the scenario or working model of World Wide Web, how World Wide Web is working. In that case, we have discussed static document, dynamic document and active document. Static documents, elements of web page are steady, there is no modification on any elements, whereas in terms of dynamic document there is two categories, one is dynamic and one is active dynamic. So in case of dynamic document, there is a modifications are happening at a server's browser and that is visible to the client. Whereas in terms of active document, there is whatever the changes are going to be occur, so directly changes are going to be occur at client's browser, look like cricket scoreboard. Get it? So these are the different categories of web document, like static, dynamic and active. We have also discussed URL, known as a uniform resource locator. There is a components of URL like protocol, host, port and path. So we have discussed this topic in detail. In last session, we have discussed HTTP, stands for the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. There is two types of HTTP, like persistent connection and non-persistent connection. In terms of persistent connection, there is a requirement of one-time connection establishment. There is a one-time connection establishment. And whereas in case of non-persistent connection, there is a n type of connection establishment. Whatever the times you want to exchange the data, so every time there is need to establish test connection and termination of that particular connection. So that is all about the non-persistent and persistent HTTP. We have also discussed cookies. Two types of cookies where they are persistent and non-persistent, same like HTTP. Whenever there is a persistent cookies, so persistent cookies are storing the data permanently. Whenever a user will open the browser, so user will get that particular data. Whereas in case of non-persistent cookies are storing the data for the particular session. Whenever session will expire or user will close the browser, so then after whenever user will start a test session with the again opening the browser, so user will not be able to get that particular data. So this is known as a non-persistent cookies. So if you are still remain to watch our earlier videos, so you can refer the earlier videos. Last videos of HTTP, you can click on I button at top right corner and you can watch that particular video. So let's start today's session about email. Email is basically known as electronic mail. So as we know, you are regularly using the email today, but due to the new era of like some applications like WhatsApp and Telegrams, there is use of email is limited in nowadays. Generally, email is right now for the official use only. Before today, people are using the email for sharing the files in normal use. But right now, only offices and like some of the organizations like school, colleges, and like government offices are using the email for keeping the record officially. Remaining people, like you are sharing any data with your friends or your colleague, so people are using WhatsApp and Telegram, this type of applications. Get it? So let's see what is the electronic mail. So as you know, whatever the peoples are using email from particular network, so that is the different kind of network. It is network 1, whereas it is network 2, whereas here there is a network 3. So every network have a particular mail server, and this mail server are communicating with each other. Mail servers are communicating with each other, and always user agent or a clients are communicating with the server. Get it? Now let's see, there is an outgoing message queue and one is user mailbox. Get it? So whatever this user are using mail server, so particular user have a own mailboxes, like you have your own mailbox, your inbox, particular folders. Get it? So that is your property, whereas a mail server is maintaining outgoing message queue, like there is a single mail server is connected with the multiple user agent. So every user agent have a particular user mailbox, as well as there is a common outgoing message queue, because mail server is receiving the mail from all of the user agents connected with it. Get it? So mail server is maintaining one outgoing message queue. Same thing, this type of structure is available at everywhere. So that is the high level view of internet email system. Let's see in detail one by one everything. So that is the first scenario of electronic mail. So whatever the scenario we are discussing right now, we are going to discuss total 4 number of scenario, but all scenarios we are expecting without the use of internet. So we are thinking it with the local server only, not with the internet. Or not we are using the use of web. So that is the first scenario with like there is a mail server. So there is two persons like Alice and Bob. There is two parties. Alice is a sender party and Bob is a receiver party. So if you will think Alice is a user agent and Alice will send that their mail to the mail server, and same thing Bob will receive the mail from the mail server. So if you will look about the second scenario, so in that case there is a use of internet. Get it? So let's see, there is a both side there is a mail server, that is a mail server of sending party, and it is a mail server of receiving party. So right now we are including internet for the communication. So this both servers are connected via internet, and this user are connected with the local servers. So here there is no use of internet in between sender party and mail server. Same thing here, there is no connectivity of internet from the Bob and mail server. Both users are connected with the local servers, whereas two mail servers are connected via internet. Then so whenever sender party will send their mail to the mail server, so there is one MTA client. Get it? MTA stand for the message transfer agent, and UA stand for the user agent. We have already discussed UA. Here there is a Alice is a sender user agent and Bob is a receiver user agent. Right? So there is a mail transfer agent at every mail server. Same thing here. It is a sender side message transfer agent which will work as a client, and receiving side there is a message transfer agent which will work as a server. So there is a client server communication. There is one spool which is look like a queue. It means there is a queue of mails. Here there is a boxes. Whatever the mail is going to be received, so that mail will be received into the mailbox. Get it? So right now you are using the email, so you are very well aware with the mailbox. Get it? So there is no need to go in deep what is mailbox. Now if you will look about the third scenario, so right now there is user agent is connected via local area network or wide area network. Get it? Now what is the difference here? So there is a message transfer agent as a server at the sending side, because this server is of the local area network or wide area network, whereas this server is receiver side server. Get it? Here that is a sending side client. So actually there is a client server communication here. Get it? That is a client server communication, but here whatever server you are looking, that server is of local area network and wide area network. Get it? So whenever again there is a client server communication at a sending side, that is a message transfer agent client of this user agent, and there is a message transfer agent server from the LAN or WAN. Get it? So this client is communicating with this server via local area network or a wide area network, and whereas there is again client server communication between this email structure. Get it? So here there is Alice as a sender party and Bob is a receiver party. Both are user agent. Get it? So hope you are understanding. That is the third scenario of electronic mail. Let's see what is the fourth scenario. Here both parties are connected with the local area network or a wide area network. Correct. Both parties are connected with the LAN or MAN. Same thing, there is into the both side there is a server. Correct. So here also client server communication. It is client server communication, as well as here again there is a client server communication. But let's see what is the difference. In previous cases there was a message transfer agent server, but here there is a message transfer agent server, and here there is a mail message access agent. MAS stand for the message access agent. Get it? So here there is a MMA client and MMA server. Here there is a MTA client and MTA server. So this client server communication between the MTA client and MTA server, whereas this client server communication is between MAA client and MMA server. Get it? Now you think what is the difference between transfer agent and access agent? Why both thing is different? Why we can't place here message transfer agent? Because for both the process, different types of protocols are in use. One protocol is used for the pushing and another protocol is used for the pulling. So we will discuss pushing process and pulling process in detail, as well as we will discuss the whatever the number of protocols are used for the pushing and whatever the number of protocols are used for the pulling. Get it? So that's why there is access agent and here there is transfer agent. Get it? So here transfer agent is pushing the message, whereas access agent is pulling the message. Again, look like our previous scenario, there is a client server communication between two servers, that is a sending side server and it is a receiver side server. So there is MTA client and it is MTA server. Get it? So hope you are able to understand all four scenario of electronic mail. So we are considering this scenario with the local servers as well as LAN connection and MAN connections. User are connected with the LAN and WAN. So right now there is not a web-based connectivity. Get it? Till today, whatever the email you are accessing with the World Wide Web. Get it? So whatever the four scenario we are discussing, this four scenario is we are discussing before the arriving of World Wide Web. Get it? So right now you are using the electronic mail by using the World Wide Web. So we will also discuss the current scenario, whatever you are using. But these all four scenario are before the World Wide Web or web connectivity. Let's see the push and pull. There is MTA client and MTA server. So MTA client is pushing the message toward the MTA server. Get it? So this process is known as a pushing process. Client pushes a message. Wherever here, client pulling a message. Here there is a client and there is a server. Get it? If you want to really understand this pulling process, so let just reverse this figure. Consider here that is a server. And consider here there is a client. Make it reverse. So it is better understandable. It is client. Get it? So right now client will put a request to accessing the message and server will respond to access the message. That is request. Get it? So that is actual scenario of client pulling the message. So there is a communication between two servers. Whenever two mail servers are communicating with each other, so that is a sender party and that client is a receiver party. So sender is pushing the message on server, whereas the receiver is pulling the message from the server. Get it? So there is a push versus pull of electronic mail. Here pushing protocol is used, whereas here pulling protocol is used. So I will introduce about the protocol also, which protocol we will use for the pushing the message or which protocol we will use for the pulling the message. Now, what is the role of user agent? So, user agent is composing the message, reading the message, replying to message, forwarding the message, or handling mailboxes. Like, suppose consider yourself as a user. Suppose you are a user agent. Get it? So, what you will do? You can compose a mail. It means you are sending a new mail to someone. That is a new mail. Another one is a reading the mail. Suppose you are receiving a mail from anywhere, whatever, like your friends, your bosses, your juniors, seniors, get it? Whomever send a mail to you. So you will open that particular mail and you will read the mail. Another thing, there is replying a message. Like suppose your boss is asking your work details. Get it? So again, you will here you will reading the mail from your boss side, and again you will reply your boss with your working detail. Get it? So that is what user agent is doing. Again, forwarding a message. Like there is one important work. Like you are a middleware authority. Get it? Like there is management. And there is one manager, like you can consider the head of departments or head of an activity, and these are the employees. Get it? So if any instruction arrived from the management side, so head of department will forward this instruction to the other employees. So this thing is known as a forwarding the message or forwarding email. Handling mailbox, like whatever the user agent is there. Suppose there is some office mail, so you will keep one mailbox for the office use only. Get it? Like in this office mail, some of the mails are urgent or important, so you can create another mailbox for the urgent mail or important mail. Like some of the mails for the entertainment, like mail regarding to the movies and song links, so you can generate one mailbox for the entertainment. Get it? So you can categorize your mailbox by handling the mailboxes. Get it? By creating the different folders. So whatever the user agent performing this task, that is command drive or a GUI based. Command drive, it means whatever you are performing by writing the commands in command prompt. Whenever you will type whenever you will type any commands into the command box, like we have already discussed how to write a command here. I have given to you one command to search the connections. Like if you will look for the whatever the number of protocols are connected, so you can check it with the netstart dash a during the lecture of World Wide Web and HTTP. So you can write a number of commands into the command prompt. Either you can go with the mouse click. So that is known as a graphical user interface. Whenever you will single click or double click or right click with the mouse, and you can go with your arrow key keyboard. So that is a graphical user interface. Get it? So let's see format of email. How was the format? So that is the format of letterbox, whereas that is the format of email. It is the format of simple letter. Whenever you are writing the letter to someone, that is format of email. Get it? So it is look like a shape of cover. Get it? Nothing else. So that is Beros Porosan. Get it? So who is sending the mail to Firoz Musharraf? Get it? So there is like receiver's address. You will write a receiver's address in big fonts, like a title Firoz Musharraf, Comnet, Supertino CA 95014, get it, and there is a date January 5, 2005. Subject, there is subject is a network, and whenever you will that is the body of message, that is the heading, get it, that is the cover, that is the receiver party address, it is the sender party address. This thing is known as a cover. It is a detailed message, it means there is a heading, it is a subject, and that is here there is a body of message. Whereas there is a structure of mail, get it, so that is a mail from, it means it is the sender address, mail to, it means there is, that is the receiver's address, get it. This thing is known as a like cover or a envelope in mail. Again there is it is a header of letter, whereas it is a header of mail. In terms of header, there is again there is a sender's address, receiver address, date, and subject. Whereas that is a body, it means actual message or a text, and that is the just ending words from the senders. Okay. So let's see here, address is look like Porosan@denza.edu. So that is sender. Porosan is sending the mail to Firoz. Firoz@net.edu. Get it? And which date? There is a first like 5th January 2005, and there is a subject is network. Get it? Here Mr. Musraf, we want to inform you that our network is working properly after the last repair. So it is the actual message which Feroz Porosan want to convey to Firoz Musraf. Get it? So how there is particular format of email, how to send email, or how to write email in particular formats. Let's see one poem from the Harivansh Rai Bachchan. वृक्ष हो भले खड़े हो कने हो बड़े, एक पत छाव की मांग मत मांग मत मांग मत, अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ। तू न थकेगा कभी, तू न थमेगा कभी, तू न मुड़ेगा कभी, कर शपथ कर शपथ कर शपथ। अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ, ये महान दृश्य है, चल रहा मनुष्य है, अश्रु स्वेद रक्त से लथपथ लथपथ लथपथ। अग्निपथ अग्निपथ अग्निपथ। तो दोस्तों, कभी भी जीवन में ऐसा मत एस्टिमेट करना कि आप थक जाओगे, आप खड़े रह जाओगे, कैसे आगे बढ़ोगे। ठीक है, तो ऑलवेज मोटिवेट फ्रॉम दिस पोएम एंड rock the life and rock your education career. Let's see one email address structure. So there is two part, one is local part and another one is a domain name. So let's see, here I have taken example of my email ID. So whatever I am using the text, that is a Bhavik K. Get it? So that is my name and first character of the surname. So that is a local part. This thing is a local part. Whereas another one is a domain name. So drSubhasTech.edu.in, that is a one domain. So I am using the domain of Dr. Subhash Tech. Get it? So whenever you will look any email address, so there is a two part before the whatever you are looking, so that is local part, and after the whatever you are looking, so that is the domain part. Now we will discuss about the protocols. So first protocol, that is a Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, SMTP, stand for the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So it is used for the MTA, Message Transfer Agent is using Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is used for the pushing and transferring. Whereas here there is Bob is pulling the message. So here we are not using the SMTP. Another protocol we will use the pulling purpose. So range of SMTP is pushing and transferring. So here there is MTA client and MTA server. MTA client is placing a request for the pushing, and server is responding, or server is allowing to that particular client to sending the mail or pushing the mail. Whereas here there is mail server and mail server both are communicating with each other. So this mail server will work as a client and this mail server is work for a server. So again there is a client server communication for the transferring the message. Get it? So again here MTA client and MTA server. And now we will look for the receiver side also. So what are the phases? 3 phases: connection establishment, then after actual message transfer, and again there is a connection termination. Look like circuit switch. Now how this entire thing is work? So that is the first scenario of connection establishment. How connection establishment is working? Get it? So MTA server is saying that like our service is ready. Get it? So MTA client will place a request to access that particular service and server will allow to access the service. It is a request message and this one is a response message. Get it? So that is connection establishment. Now message transfer. In terms of message transfer, that is a message from, it means Frozen's address is a sender, again server is allowing okay, and it is placing the address of receiver whom they want to send and server is allowing okay. So that is an envelope or a cover. Get it? Again there is a second actual data message for a body. So there is a data, again response of that particular data, and for sender address and receiver address again for that particular data, date and subject. And then after there is a blank line, and again there is a actual message or actual text. Like actual message, we have read that particular message, whatever Frozen want to forward to the user. Get it? So that is message transfer, how message transfer is going to be take place, and that is the connection termination. Again MTA client will request for the terminate the connection and server will respond. So that are the number of service numbers are used. 250 for the establishing, allowing response for the service connection, 221 for service closed. Get it? 250 for the OK or responding particular services. So we have discussed 3 things: connection establishment, connection transfer and connection. Now there is a access protocol. What message access agent using? So message access using 2 protocol, POP and IMAP. Get it? So POP stand for the post office protocol and IMAP stand for the internet mail access protocol. And POP used with the 3rd version and IMAP used with the 4th version. Get it? So we have discussed SMTP's range from sender to local mail server and mail server to receiver's mail. It means that is pushing and this one is transferring. Now here this receiver is pulling the message from this mail server. So this type of pulling purpose that protocol is used like POP3 and IMAP, or it is used by the message access agent. So these are the scenario of post office protocol version 3, how POP3 is going to be used. Again POP3 server and POP3 client. So that is actual directions like we have discussed during the push and pull process. That is client is requesting to the server for the services, pulling services, and server will responding with the response message with the username and password. Both services are okay, then client will able to access the mail. Okay. So that is all about how POP3 is working. And that is the one more protocol, that is multi-purpose internet mail extension, MIME. MIME is used for conversion from non-ASCII code to ASCII code. Here whatever the non-ASCII code is with the user agent, so MIME will transfer that code into the ASCII code. This ASCII code, 7-bit NVT ASCII code and 7-bit NVT ASCII code will transfer to the server. It means these are the pushing process. During the pushing side, sending side, there is a conversion between non-ASCII to ASCII, and during the transfer, that is used of 7-bit NVT ASCII code. This type of code will be going to be transferred in channel. Same thing, this type of 7-bit NVT ASCII code receive data receiver server, and again there is need to convert that ASCII code to non-ASCII code for the user. Get it? So MIME is used for conversion of non-ASCII to ASCII and ASCII to non-ASCII. So that is the actual scenario of web-based mail. Whatever you are using today, you are accessing email with the web. Get it? So there is a use of web like HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Here again there is a Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Get it? So always sender is using web for sending the mail and receiver is using the web for receiving the mail. So there is a HTTP server at both sides, sending side and receiving side, and there is a SMTP client, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, and here there is a SMTP server. Get it? So that is the scenario whatever you are using today. Currently, how you are communicating with the email. So that is all about this thing. No need to explain more because currently you are using this scenario. So that scenario is currently used in market. In our next session, we will discuss DNS, domain name system. Till today, or in this session, if you have any query in content of computer network or content of electronics mail, so you can make your comment on comment box. I will try my best to solve your queries. Thank you very much for the connected.